Jo, tak dáme reakcičku nějakou. Jeff Bezos situation is embarrassing. Jeffa Bezose znáte? Jeff Bezos je americký businessman. Amazon a jo, Amazon. Tak já jsem debil, ok, dobrý. Tak, jdeme kouknout na videjko.
This is actually the last video I'm going to be recording with this setup for quite a while because I'm going to Australia for a year. So, you know,
To byl real footage z Austrálie?
because I'm going to Australia for
Kamo, ale já nevím, já bych v Austrálii kámo nepřežil. Já jsem viděl nějaký fotky těch pavouků a holy. Já jsem měl ve škole sklípkany občas, jakože v rohu, a já jsem z nich byl úplně jako vycákaný. Jakože ne, že jsem jako měl rád, ale že jsem si jich bál jak svině. Když jsem malý, tak jsem mi zpíval písničky na těch záchodech. Legit, jsem prostě chcel, mi bylo třeba, nevím, 5, zpíval jsem na záchodech, že já si to pamatuju dodnes, tam byl sklípkan, já jsem chcel, koukal jsem na něj a zpíval jsem: Pavoučku, mám tě rád víc než svý rodiče, prosím, nejes mě. A toho jsem tam chcel. Takže kámo, Austrálie, to je docela jakože pro mě no-go zóna.
a year. So, you know, as a send-off, what am I going to do? Am I going to record a heartfelt message saying thank you for watching me over the years? Thank you for consuming the slop? No. Instead, I'm going to talk about a billionaire who had a very cringe wedding. So Jeff Bezos is
Ježiš, já vím, on chtěl, jo, sakra, on si chtěl udělat svatbu ve Vatikánu a jemu toho tam zabanovali nebo něco, ne? Ne, nevím, podle mě tam byly protesty a on to musel zrušit. Nebo ve Vatikánu. No, uvidíme. Podle mě jo.
surprisingly one of the richest men in the entire world. And he just got married in Italy, and the wedding, it seems a little bit cringe. Now, it is not a brave statement to say that nobody likes billionaires.
Vatikán je v Itálii, ne? A Vatikán je stát ve státě. Takže jestli řekli, že to bylo ve Vatikánu, tak Pyro Signal je oficiálně hloupý člověk. Protože Itálie není Vatikán a Vatikán není Itálie. Jsou to dva státy, jsou to dva rozdílné státy. Je to stát ve státu. Chápete? Benátky? Jo, dobrý, nechte mě bejt, sakra.
They could be relatable or pretend to hide their wealth. Look at me. I'm not wearing a PS5 shirt that was $500 today. I'm relatable, right, guys? But when it's billionaires, you reach
Doslova tričko PS5 stojí jak samotná PS5, to je crazy. To byl troll, já to nepochopil, ale to je jedno.
that level of wealth that you can't really hide. It's generational wealth. But don't worry, if you sat down with any billionaire, they'd tell you, well, I'm actually not that rich. I don't have a lot of money in my account.
Se bojíš, že jsi z finančáku.
Which is usually true. Most billionaires, I mean, to even get to the status of a billionaire, most of your money would be in stocks and shares, probably in your own company, not as actual funds. Because that's really the only way that billionaires can get even richer, by having it all invested into a company. And also...
Ano, protože pak vám ty peníze dělají další peníze, vy si můžete pak půjčovat z banky, je to úplně crazy. Vy si, nejsem kámo bilionář, takže nevím, jak to přesně funguje, ale basically, máte peníze, vy děláte peníze, ty peníze hodíte do akcí, takže jakoby nedaníte, protože jsou to akcie. Dokud to neprodáš, tak se nedaní. Ale ty máš ty akcie ve vlastní firmě, to ti třeba platí dividendy občas, nevím, to je jedno, asi to je jedno, to ti neplatí dividendy. A pak když do banky, ty si tam vezmeš půjčku na základě toho a backneš to jako svýma vlastníma akciema, chápeš? To je úplně crazy. Pak ty jakoby prostě vždycky máš ty peníze. Mega mind, ale mě to nesvítí, bohužel.
One thing I learned about the other week, which is absolutely dystopian, one of the best ways companies use to make more money if you're at the same size of like Apple or Amazon, you borrow money from the government, from the bank.
Hele, teď jsem to říkal.
Interest, and you put it into your own company. That company then goes up in value to the point that when you have to pay back the loan, your company's grown so much that you're actually still in the green when you pay back the loan with interest. So
tak to je infinite money glitch, holy shit.
it is basically a GTA 5 infinite money glitch.
A my jsme Spyro si řekli prostě jedno budeš dvojčata, kámo. Jakože to už nemůžeme tady ignorovat toho slona v místnosti. Actually, kámo, je to tak bící do očí, že to nejde přehlédnout.
So just to give a bit of context here, Jeff, I don't pay my Amazon workers. Bezos is the CEO and founder of Amazon, and he has just consummated his second marriage with Lauren Sanchez.
Trošku chopped, ale samozřejmě v Robloxu. Kdo jsem já, abych komentoval na ničí vzhled? Ne, vtip, vypadá v pohodě, samozřejmě. Byl vtip.
Coincidence that Jeff Bezos is probably a fan of Rick and Morty and he wanted to steal the surname. This comes
What the fuck?
after they both divorced their partners back in 2019. And they also started dating the same year. And if you're a little bit suspicious of that timing, don't worry, because during the divorce proceedings, Sanchez and Bezos basically admitted to having a little extramarital affair before the divorce actually went through. I feel like once you have an affair, you're kind of bound to marrying that person. That is, unless you can fix the actual marriage. But let's be fair, most people here are probably talking to their kitten on Discord, so that is it's
To je pravda, jak svědě.
not even going to happen in our lifetime, is it? But the two finally decided $50 million.
Kámo, $50 milion. How long does it take for Jeff Bezos to make $50 million? Just give me the answer. 6,5 hodiny, kámo. A za 6 hodin si vyjel na svatbu, chápeš? 50 milionů.
That is more money than most people will ever see in their lifetime.
A týpek, 6 hodin, jak nic. I smurf your peak.
All of that being spent in about 3 days. Now, I know that there's some other crazy stories around Jeff Bezos, like, for example, that time he needed a
Já vůbec nic o něm nevím, kámo. Jediný, co vím, je, že má cool hairstyle.
entire bridge to be lifted just to fit his yacht through, but
To je frajer, kámo.
50 mil in 3 days just for a wedding is crazy. And as you can imagine, because there's a lot of crisis going on right now, cost of living crisis, most people can barely afford food, making rent. A lot of people were not happy that a rich man got to spend a lot of his rich people money. And
Cry about it, nevidím problém. Jakoby, ono se to nezdá, ale abyste byli jakože nechutně jako abyste byli jako fakt takhle bohatí, do toho musíte jako narvat hodně času. A často musíte obětovat jakože úplně všechno a k tomu nejspíše máte nějakou formu autismu a hyperfixace, protože třeba s Elonem Muskem, tak Elon Musk podle mě full time pracoval třeba 10 let, takže fakt, že all day, all night. Že seděl v garáži, kámo, dělal to na PayPal nebo na něčem, nevím, ale kámo, máš jenom 24 hodin ve dni, když jakože máš jakoby na krku tak velký companies, tak já si myslím, že nežiješ. Ty jakoby jenom pracuješ, in my opinion. Nevím, přijde mi, že to není zase tak růžový být úplně, kámo, jakože fakt ta špička, protože myslím si, že, nevím, co já vím, moje domněnka, whatever.
also they got engaged before that on a 550
To byl trošku japing. Snad to někdo pochopil. Já jsem měl trošku myšlenku v hlavě, ale pak ke konci už mi úplně ulítla. Whatever. Ale myslím si, že asi pointa trošku tam byla.
million super yacht. Now, a massive problem with the wedding is it was held in Venice. And if you don't know Venice in Italy, it is built on marshlands. The whole
Co má někdy teď to, že mě vždycky strašili, že musíš jet do Benátek, bude brzo jako zatopená. Kdy bude zatopená? When will Venice be underwater? 2100. Aha, dobrý. OK. Tak to je ještě času dost.
place is surrounded by water. I remember going to Venice as a kid.
Kanál Smahov CSGO, yes.
Okay, to people that don't know what Venice is, that CS:GO map, the one with the water
Teď to řekl, kámo.
and the funny shaped boats. Okay, now.
Počkej.
Is that CS:GO map, the one with the water and the funny shaped
Jo, dobrý, nic.
boats? Okay, now we're on the same picture. Now, one of the reasons behind that is because the Venetians probably read Sun Tzu or something and realized if we're going to be invaded and conquered, it's probably a little bit harder to do that if we set up basically on a swamp. So to invade
Co?
Venice, you'd need to wade through a bunch of marshland, which most people weren't really willing to do. Isn't that crazy? How Venice, like, it could have been a battleground, this theater of war with all these moats and boats and all this warfare. And now, anytime you go to Venice, you'll basically just have a scam artist sell you an umbrella for about €5 that breaks in your hand, or some random guy that comes over to you, puts a bunch of bird seed forcefully in your hands so pigeons eat off it, and then demand money off you.
Já jsem to třeba nechápal. Třeba kdyby ke mně přišel nějaký týpek a chtěl po mně jako prostě prachy za to, že třeba v New Yorku, jak to je, prostě přijde maskot, vyfotí se s tebou randomně a pak řekne, hej, dej mi peníze, já chci peníze za to, že jsem se s tou vyfotil. Tak já bych ho prostě nezaplatil, já bych ho řekl, hej, vypadni. Ale třeba v Egyptě, jak jsou tam ty typci s těma velbloudama a se vším, tak ty, když jakože jim řekneš, hej, vypadni, nic si dávat nebudu, žádný peníze, tak oni tam pracují s těma jakože skorumpovanýma fízlama a přijdou k tobě fízlové, nebo třeba týpek v oblečení fízla, který ani není fízl. Takže jakože ono je to docela problém. To jim nemůže říct prostě, hej, fuck off, bro. Takže, jakože asi můžeš, ale prostě není to zas tak easy, I think.
Love tourism. Both of those things happened to me, by the way, when I went to Venice when I was about like 16 or something. I'm not sure if it's got any better. Probably not. Now, Venice is in a bit of more trouble, apart from
Co to je? To je nějaký, kámo, kurz Van Gogh AI, nebo co to je?
Jeff Bezos, because we're in the 21st century, global warming is quite a pressing issue, and this has basically caused Venice to partially sink. The whole of Venice is surrounded by water, meaning that more water is basically just a death sentence for the city. I mean,
Aha, tak 2100 asi to bude blíž, no.
if you look at some of the new recent photos of flooding in Venice, it looks like new
To je crazy docela.
Bondo ruins from Dark Souls. So, yeah.
Oh, Dark Souls reference.
Brave statement. Global warming, le bad. Especially for Venice. So, what's a good idea here? Let's fly 90 private jets over there, just for one guy's wedding. There was also a lot of protests going.
If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. Ježíš, tady ten cringe, kámo, že bohatí lidé, ať platí víc taxes. Přijde mi to cringe. Jako tohleto obcházení s tím, že prostě neplatíš daně a dáváš si to do kompany, to je taky cringe, ale jakože to není jeho problém. Kdybych já byl Jeff Bezos, tak bych to dělal taky. Nevím, jakože to není moje chyba, to je chyba systému. Sorry.
On at Venice because of Jeff Bezos' wedding.
Byl jsi v Benátkách? Já jsem byl v Benátkách, když jsem byl hrozně malej, ale nepamatuji si to absolutně. Takže spíš ne.
A lot of people basically saying that you're just using Venice as a backdrop, no interest in actually helping the city. Basically just using like pretty much a dying city as just this egregious flaunt of wealth. And yet Venice, for now, while it lasts, is a beautiful city if you stay away from the scam artists. And also as well, I think it's a pretty bad principle to set out that you can't get married in like a different city or in a different country.
Je to cringe docela, not gonna lie. Možná kvůli turistům, ne? Jakože mě to přijde docela, jakože, nevím, přijde mi to cool. Ale jakože to mám jenom jakože CSGO kanál mapy, že? Jo, ty mě serou. No tak ale malý město, kámo, hodně turistů, to dává smysl, ale...
Any sense. But there's a difference between, you know, a couple going to Venice, having a nice little, you know, wedding, maybe on one of those little funny boats, and then there's
Haha, Sonic. Já jsem cringe do píči, co milu.
Jeff Bezos, who shut down basically half the city. That's mostly because there were so many wealthy celebrities and world leaders there that they basically would have been a safety risk if all the poors were let in. Now, one big
Old poors. Plebiáni.
criticism the wedding got is just how tacky it all seemed to come off as. People say that money actually can't buy a lot of things. Money can't buy love, money can't buy you class, and money can't...
Peníze ti nekoupí všechno, ale peníze ti rozhodně jakože umožní všechno. Že když máš hodně peněz, tak se nemusíš starat o tamto a můžeš se věnovat actually těm věcem, které jsou důležitý. Takže bych řekl, že ve finále svým způsobem můžou.
Can't buy you happiness. Although, to be fair, I would like to correct that last one because back in the day, going back 6 years ago when I was making videos on Logan Paul, my bank account, thank you. Logan and Jake Paul, you actually gave me the first taste I'll ever have of generational wealth. I mean, if you want a great example of money buying you new style, take a look at Mark Zuckerberg right now. He's 41 years old and he's basically trying to dress like every Omega House frat boy.
To vypadá jakože hrozně divně, kámo. Jako, to by byl jako nějaký humanoid, co si prostě vzal kůži člověka, jakože hej, čau, tak co, jdeme na nějaký sport, třeba zahrajeme si dneska basketbal, nebo co to máte rádi, co? Hoho. Ježiškno píči, vypadá to divně.
Boy in existence. The thing is, he's
Lizard, yes, doslova.
trying to look hip, he's trying to look cool, I respect it, but to me, he just looks like skinny Jonah Hill from Superbad. Now,
Holy shit, kámo. Není Superbad, jak tam byl ten týpek v brýlích, co pak celou noc vlastně jezdil s kopama, jak měl tu havajskou průkazku. Jo, tohle, to je ono, ne? To je Superbad. Jo, to je ono, okej.
Jonah Hill from Superbad. Now, the first thing people pointed out with the wedding was the choice of flooring for the venue. A very weird thing to criticize. Now, this is the richest man in the world. Well, probably for a week until it becomes Elon Musk, and then it will just go back to Jeff Bezos. It's a bit confusing. It seems to change every week, but he's always in the top 3. But what kind of flooring would this man choose? Would it be some kind of oak wood? Maybe marble? Maybe even hundreds of people lying
Obsidian.
down that they all step over. Now, I genuinely expected they would have cut down the last, like, I don't know, timber tree in Alaska or something, you know, some kind of like breed of tree, and there's only 3 left in the world just for this wedding. But what they went with instead is this disgusting, ugly, grey office carpet. Most people
Vypadá hrozně.
at Amazon
Což lepší bych tam nechal tu trávu, kámo. On to vypadá fakt jako ten jeho sklad amazonský.
office carpet. Most people at Amazon hate working in offices, and then you try to recreate an office at a wedding. I mean, again,
To je frajer. On kámo rage baití, on prostě trolí. On ty lidi prostě potrolil.
And I'm happy that we're not losing some, you know, rare tree or wood or anything like that, but it kind of looks
A proč to lidi, kámo, hejtí do píče, to je svatba, ať tam buď třeba udělá, kámo, že podlahu z Big Shocku, však jako to zajímá.
like they're being married in Kai Cenat's streaming room. On top of that, the wedding invitations got leaked, and they are ridiculously bad. You would think with his near infinite wealth, you know, Jeff might pay for some graphic designer or
Koho to zajímá?
illustrator to, you know, make the invitations look really nice. Because this is a huge event. Hopefully, it's his last marriage, and he can settle down, and this will be a moment.
Představte si, že tohle všechno on dělá jenom, aby nemusel platit daně třeba z nějakého důvodu. Nevím, to by bylo hrozně funny.
To remember all these celebrities and businessmen and world leaders, they want to remember this. They want to get that invitation. They want to have it framed. And more likely as well, you'll probably have people selling like counterfeit wedding invitations on Etsy or eBay to try and claw some money. But no, if you look at the letters, they look like
Či ty vypadá v pohodě, co máš za problém?
they've been made in Microsoft Publisher with the default settings. If you told me that this was made like using clip art, I would genuinely believe you. This is what
Kámo, mě to přijde v pohodě, whatever.
I love about insanely rich people. Like, they always skimp out on the things that are really important or the things that usually involve paying other people. That,
Jo, proto jsou bohatí.
or maybe they did actually pay someone a ridiculous amount of money to make these cards, and they just got the fattest bag in their life for doing basically nothing. Much like how a couple of days ago I uploaded a sponsored video where I basically got paid for watching a trailer and talking about it. We do truly live in a society. I mean, again, okay, I get that this is like a major nitpick, but, you know, for fonts and typefaces, you can give them a proper name, and the typeface they've gone with is laughably bad. I mean, look at the Y. It is so
Kámo, co jsi, kámo, designer, nebo co se tady řeší?
out of place. People have also been
Ale jakoby, jo, je divný, měl by si jakože trošku asi vertikálně otočit, ale okej.
on the dresses and the outfits people have been wearing to the wedding. Now, I don't really know enough about fashion to comment on that, so I'm not going to.
Ale, no dobrý. Necháme designem.
But I will say that some of the outfits that people are wearing, they don't really seem to be very wedding appropriate. Now,
Co to bylo? Co je tohle, kámo? To je jakože roleplay na vás.
Now, when you think of a wedding, what actually comes to mind? A nice gathering of your close friends and family, those you care about the most, and maybe they're +1.
Kamarád teď má svatbu a jakože není to drahá, není to jakože, není to, jak to říct, je to drahé, jak se vidí, je to insane drahé, já nevím, jestli budu mít svatbu někdy, to je že crazy hodně peněz.
You know, the people that you kind of don't really care about, but you just want to have more numbers there. Well, this isn't actually what we saw with the Bezos wedding. In fact, they packed the wedding with more A-list celebs than like a fifth phase Marvel film. For example, they had Oprah Winfrey, the Kardashians, Bill Gates, Usher, Tom Brady, and the Queen of Jordan. This has
Hrozně random.
led people to believe that these aren't really Jeff Bezos' like acquaintances or friends. It was basically just hanging out with a bunch of rich people, mostly for networking and for optics, because, oh, I would love on my wedding day to do nothing else except network with people. And honestly, I don't think this is that far from the truth. I mean, how many celebrities are married to other celebrities? I mean, I can guess why these people are associated with Jeff Bezos, because again, at the minute, he's the richest man in the world. He has a net worth of 237 billion US dollars. I would definitely be asking him
To vidělám za den, kámo.
to pay my rent every month. Now, just to put in comparison here how ridiculously wealthy Jeff Bezos is, if he spent $1 million a day
Kámo, ty jsme se na to koukali, on za 6 hodin vydělá 50 milionů, chápete? Za 6 hodin.
with the money he has now, and if he got no more income, it would take him until the year 2674 to run out of money. So I would be 600 and
No, 2600, ale mají tam takovýhle, kámo, hezký kobereček.
cubes from like Futurama, so I can 674 to run out of money. So I would be 677 years old, and he would be 710. So Jeff, if you're watching this video, give me a call. You know, I'll take back everything I said. Just stick me one of those tubes from like Futurama so I can wake up 1,000 years from now. And then other people, mostly poor people, came up with the game theory that this entire flaunt of wealth, this 3-day bender in Venice, it was purposely so they could display their wealth and power. And honestly, I
Počkej, okay, what?
wouldn't really be surprised because these are incredibly high-profile individuals. You know, they knew that the world would be looking in on this. They knew that people would be snapping pictures, taking videos, and they wanted to kind of show off. Well, apart from
Ok, no a? Jako, co ti to dá do píči? To nechápu. To, ok, jestli to čistě pro show off, ok, ale jakože to ti ten show off dá. Do 3 dnů si řeknou, ok, dobrý, jdeme hrát CSK. What the fuck?
the office carpet on the floor. But also at the same time,
Office carpet je crazy, kámo. Já bych to nechal tu trávu.
to be devil's advocate, I kind of feel sorry for rich people, okay? As a fellow rich person, they can have it quite hard. I mean, imagine living a life where every single thing you say or do is tracked, documented. It's very difficult, you know.
A jakože... A dělat to má stejný, ale přitom není bohatá.
I've got to travel between my 9 homes, and sometimes the paparazzi might take a picture of me, and they get my bad side. But in all honesty, I really could not care about celebrity culture or this wedding. One thing that's hilarious, though, is Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm not sure why. Every time he gets invited to these events, he does like the Hitman incognito mode. And I'm not talking about the new Hitman, the good one. I'm talking about Hitman Absolution, the one that was like actually pretty mid. There was this thing
Mně se líbil, kámo, what the fuck?
that 47 could do to like hide from people in disguise, and he would just lower his cap and that's it. And Leo seems to do this at every single event he's in, hoping that people don't clock him. And it's like, you're basically one of the most known actors in the world. People are gonna notice you. I don't understand why he tries
Assassin's Creed, kámo.
to hide from this kind of stuff. But yep, I somehow turned this into another video game reference.
No dobrý, zajímavé video v skutku. Last video, we've done haircut. Would go hard as well. Okay, to je crazy. Dobre, čete, naschle,